Hello and welcome to the first in a series of programs in which we look at the 2025 budget. Now it's a $1.3 trillion budget and agriculture has gotten a big chunk of it. With me in studio is the Agriculture Minister, Zulfikar Mustafa, and today we'll be talking about those measures provided for in the budget with more particular emphasis on agriculture. With me, conducting the interview will be Ms. Janelle Cameron. She is the Communications Officer at the Ministry of Agriculture. I'd like to welcome you all to the studios of NCN. $1.3 trillion, the biggest one ever, biggest for agriculture as well. Your thoughts?
So first of all, Chris, as I've been saying, I just commissioned 2 major projects over in Region 5, and I mentioned that those areas. But this year's budget have something for every single strata, every single section of the Guyanese society, and this year's budget will continue the transformation that started in 2020. Will continue the modernization, and as you mentioned, it 1.382 trillion, the largest budget, but at the same time, our sector, the agriculture sector, I am very satisfied that we have a large amount of budgetary allocation to expend for this year. We will continue the modernization. We will continue to ensure that we use this sum effectively to enhance the lives of the fisher folks, the farmers, the stakeholders in the agriculture sector. And as I said, that the benefit in this year's budget is tremendous. Before we go into the agriculture sector, I know you would want to talk about the other sectors, the benefit for the other vulnerable groups. But we have seen last year our country perform extremely well, where we saw 43.6% to be accurate, 43.6% growth in the country's GDP. And if you look at that, we were the fastest growing economy in the world. And that tells us something. That tells us that we have prudent management. We have a country whose economy is moving rapidly, and not only because we are an oil and gas producing country, we experience that kind of growth of 43.6%. But the non-oil sector would have contributed tremendously to that. We have from the non-oil sector 13.1% growth coming out of the non-oil sector. And for me, I am very elated as the Minister of Agriculture, because the 13.1% that contributed to the 43.6% growth to the country's GDP, agriculture would have contributed 11% of that growth. And that is tremendous. You know what is 11% growth in the agriculture sector? And we will discuss over your program. I think we will discuss a number of issues in how we'll continue to move this sector forward. But I am very happy to see that this budget, as I said, has tremendous benefit to every section, every strata of Guyana's society and the Guyanese community.
All right, Minister, you spoke about the growth. I know over the last year, a lot was done in the agriculture sector. Before you touch on the other sectors in the budget, let's deal with some agriculture areas. Can you give us an outline of some of the areas, some of the sectors that saw growth in 2024?
So, as I said, the agriculture sector contributed 11% of the country's growth last year. And besides sugar, I want to say besides sugar that contracted 21% from last year's production, all the other sectors within the agriculture sector would have grown. For example, rice. We have seen tremendous growth in the rice sector. As a matter of fact, for the first time in our country's history, we have surpassed the 700,000 ton mark. That's an achievement for us, right? We never ever before produced 700,000 tons of rice. The production last year was 725,000 tons of rice we produced. We have seen growth in the other crop sector, fruits and vegetables. We've seen growth in the livestock sector, 24% growth in the livestock sector. We saw growth in the fishing industry, the new and emerging crops. For example, we are now on corn, on soya, producing country. When we start out in 2020, we said that we have to bring down the cost of livestock feed. We have to produce our own livestock feed. We have to be self-sufficient in producing all the needs for our livestock farmers. And when we assumed government in 2020, we went and we met with the various stakeholders, especially the poultry farmers, and we earmarked the Takama area to start the cultivation of corn and soya. Now we have intensified that, and then by the end of these 2 crops for this year, I think we'll be self-sufficient in cultivating 25,000 acres of corn and soya twice per year. As long as we can do that, then we will also be a net exporter. That is how tremendous the agriculture sector performs. For example, we worked with the farmers, the fish farmers in Region 6. They used to produce 10,000 kilograms of shrimp monthly. They used to do it in a subsistence basis. The president said, let's work with them. Let's try to enhance their area. And we did that. And now last year, we increased production from 10,000 kilograms monthly to approximately 120,000 kilograms monthly. We had produced 1.2 million kilograms of shrimp last year coming out from the brackish water shrimp industry. So you could see the agriculture sector, we are moving rapidly. We are making Guyana more food secure. And you know where we took this sector from. When we took the sector was run down. People had lost confidence in the sector. The former government would have de-emphasized the sector so much so that we had lost our place in CARICOM. Today, Guyana is a shining light in CARICOM. Every single country in CARICOM, they are looking towards Guyana for that leadership, that expertise that we have, and we are working with them in places like Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, you call it. They have been working with us, and I think our president, he is given excellent leadership. Since he have retook this position, or since he have taken up the leadership in agriculture and food security in CARICOM, we have seen a renewed interest not only in Guyana, but the entire Caribbean. We have seen a renewed interest in agriculture. Places that, countries whose economy were built on tourism, was built on other areas, oil and gas. Now they are embracing agriculture. They want to do what Guyana is doing because there is successes in our stories. There are successes in our stories. And when a sector can perform and we can have an 11% growth from the agriculture sector, notwithstanding all the challenges that we have had over the last year, I think that is tremendous for us as a country.
One of the things that you have done as a ministry and as a government is in not only in providing support to farmers through infrastructural development and so on, but you've also been providing social interventions that have helped single parents, persons in low-income areas, get into business of poultry rearing, perhaps, getting into cash crop through these support programs that you've had. It has set up the stage for the provisions in this year's budget for social interventions.
Yes, and that is good. So you're right. As a government, we cannot only expend or increase budgetary allocation and expect that we will have enough production. First of all, you have to build the confidence of the farmers. You have to work with them. That we have been doing very, very aggressively and regularly. I have been having regular outreaches across the country. I have been meeting with various groups across the country. We have been working in partnership, and as you mentioned, there are programs for various sectors, various sections, of the population in the agriculture sector. You mentioned the single parents, especially female. We started the Cutthroats Project at NARI. We targeted the single parents and especially female to get help from that project. We are producing the roses there and sold it for just about between $200 to $500. They are reselling it for $2,000. We have a very, very aggressive poultry program in terms of the Black Giant program that we have thousands of black giant boards we have delivered to females across this country so that they can get involved in some form of some activity that will help benefit them economic activities. We have started the broilers program with women. And you know for a fact, let me tell you that, I don't know how many Guyanese would have known this, but the president gave instruction that every single project coming out from the Ministry of Agriculture must include 35% women and youth. And that we have been doing. So you have a lot of women involved, but then the young people. How we can attract young people into the agriculture sector. And here again, we try as much as possible to be innovative, to capture the imagination of young people in this country. Because young people today, they don't have an interest in agriculture because they thought, or they feel, or there's a perception out there that agriculture is a menial job. It's a job that you have to do more physical work. Now we are changing that scenario. We are making agriculture more enjoyable for young people. They can do it. We are making agriculture less labor intensive and more modern. So what we did, we formed a company called the Agriculture Innovation Entrepreneurship Program, where we target a number of graduates coming out from the University of Guyana, the Guyana School of Agriculture. And today, since that program has started, we have built over 600 shade houses across the country. Hundreds of young people, graduates, who are doing clerical work, pushing paper and pen behind a desk. They are now involved in agriculture. They are now practicing what they would have learned in the classroom, sharing their skills out there to enhance this sector. So I think the sector have grew tremendously over the last 4.5 years. And I think the future for agriculture is bright. As I am speaking now, we are constructing a food hub. We want Guyana to be the primary area in the Caribbean, a food producing country, where Guyana will be the food hub to produce all the food going to the Caribbean. Because if we have to be successful in reducing the food import bill by 25% by the end of this year, then Guyana has to be successful. And we have a success story in Guyana to tell the Caribbean, to share with the Caribbean, to help them. That is why they have so much confidence. The Caribbean community have so much confidence in Guyana's ability to help them to set up their agriculture sector or resuscitate their agriculture sector.
Part of the agriculture sector being successful is ensuring that it has a competent drainage and irrigation network. We saw yesterday during Dr. Ashley's presentation for agriculture, a large amount was allocated to doing that. Can you give us a bit about that? Can you share a bit about that?
So the DNI, we are trying to modernize the entire drainage and irrigation system in this country. Over the years, I think we have made tremendous improvement. We have put in a number of equipment and pump stations across the country. We have rehabilitated and cleared hundreds, or not thousands, of kilometers and rods of canals and drains. We are now, farmers are getting it easier to have irrigation water, although we are in a prolonged dry spell. I know for a fact in Region 6 there are some areas that need attention. I've been working with the NDIA to address those concerned places like the number 47, Good Hope area, number 51, Good Hope area. I am hoping that the situation there could come under control, because I want to mention this before I talk about what we are doing in the agriculture, the DNI sector, so that farmers wouldn't say that we are expending. I know for a fact there's an issue at the 51 Good Hope area. We are trying to address that issue. I've instructed that a pump be taken there so that we can increase the flow of water, irrigation water, to the farming community in that area. But besides that, what we have seen a number of pump stations being commissioned. Only just now, a few minutes ago, I commissioned one at Trafalgar. Before that, I commissioned pump station at Cozier on the Essequibo Coast, Andrews on the Essequibo Coast, Greenwich Park in Region 3. I commissioned one at Adventure here in the Quarantine. And in the coming weeks, I will be commissioned. I just commissioned one at Trafalgar in Region 5. In the new weeks, I will commission at Montrose and Liliendal on the East Coast. I'll be commissioning another one at Canals Polder in Region 3. We have another one being built at Cottage in Region 5. At Letterkenny, we have another one being built there. So we are modernizing the drainage system in our country. Whilst we are doing that, we are also rehabilitating a number of sluices, make them more efficient so that we can complement the drainage time in these communities so that we can stop or ease flooding, because there are a number of problems sometimes farmers are experiencing. Flooding is one of the most serious problems. Over the years, the government had to get funds to get farmers to go back to the crops, go back to the field when we had these floods. So we are trying to modernize these areas and put in all these investment. What we have done, we have purchased hundreds of machinery to the DNI, enhance their capacity. In various regions now we have fleets of machinery doing jobs with the DNI system. But besides that, what we are doing, this year we have started the construction, the construction of these high-level canals. You remember or you know the Hope-like Canal that we have on the East Coast at Hope. That canal, when that canal was done, they used to call it the Jagdeo White Elephant. Well, that canal proved its worth. When we had the major flood in 2021, areas around that area was not flooded out because the water normally drained directly from the backlands right onto the Atlantic. Now in Region 6, we are building 2 of those canals. One at number 51, 52 area, and another one will be built in the central quarantine area from, I believe, Lancaster, Manchester area. Those 2 high-level canals will drain thousands of acres of land in Region 6. And not only cultivation land, but also areas that, like livestock, we're talking about residential area, all will be drained. It's high level. These canals can be drained 24 hours a day, and the contracts have already been awarded in Region 6. Works have already commenced. We are building an embankment from number 66 to Kanji so that backland water will not come and encroach in the cultivation area and the residential area. The backland water will drain directly straight out to the Atlantic. We are doing the same thing in Region 5. The tenders are out, the design have already been completed, and the embankment from Mahika to Abari have already been awarded, and now we will be awarding the contract for the high-level canal directly. We are doing another set in Region 3. Region 3 too, we are building Hope-like Canal. So in these areas, these mega projects, almost $26 billion will be expended. And I'm hoping that at the end of this project, we will ease flooding, minimize flooding tremendously in these areas. And also what this will help us to do, to open up new lands. Thousands of acres of new lands will be opened up so that farmers will have more opportunities to go into production. So all these things we are doing, and I think this year again we have seen the investment that we'll be making in the DNI sector. $73 billion have been allocated, $73.2 billion have been allocated for the DNI sector. As a matter of fact, if I can go through it, $430.9 million have been allocated to the rice sector. Besides that, we will be giving almost $2 billion in fertilizer again to farmers, and that will be effective in the new crop of this year. The tenders are out already in the newspaper. So besides the $2 billion, we have also allocated $430 million to the rice sector, so that they can also do works in the various community. We know for a fact that sugar had contracted 21% last year. We are hoping to have a rebound of sugar this year. The target set is 101,000 tons. I am very optimistic. I will be working very closely with Gaisuku. You heard that the president read the Right Act to Gaisuku. We have did a number of changes in the management structure, and we are hoping that with the kind of work that were done over the last few months, almost 40% of Gaisuku's cultivation have been mechanized already. They are now purchasing new harvesters, new loaders, so that those things can take in the slacks that were created by the labor shortage, or some of the areas that they have labor shortage. So $13.3 billion have been allocated to the to Gaisuco, to bring back Gaisuco to the point that we want it to go. We want Gaisuco to reduce the cost of production, and we want Gaisuco to produce effectively, and maximum production must come out of Gaisuco. I'm hoping that that can help us. What we'll be doing over the next, because I have met Gaisuco management on a number of occasions. I still know that there are problems there. Only this morning, some workers were texting me, and I instructed Gaisuco that they must work very closely with the workers so that they can build their morals also. We must not have this kind of boss-buys attitude in the estate. I told them that already. And I myself will be visiting some of the estate and see what is going on without announcing my going in there. For the other crops, we have seen a massive growth in the other crops, and those are the fruits and vegetables, the corn and soya. We have $2.9 billion this year to expend in that area. But what we'll see a revolution in the other crops area. What we have been producing, approximately 15,000 plantlets annually. Now we are constructing a tissue culture lab. I am hoping by the mid this year, by the first quarter to the mid of this year, that lab will be completed. That lab will produce millions of planting materials. Pest resistance and disease resistance. So that, and we can produce the plants that we need. That tissue culture lab can even produce different variety of sugar canes, citrus, things like that. Crops that are some of the fruits that people bring into the country. We want us to be self-sufficient, because if we want Guyana to be a food hub, we must have maximum production in all the areas. So $2.9 billion have been allocated to that area and to develop that sector. We have another $800 million in the value chain to enhance that sector. Those agro-processing area that you know that we have built a number of agro-processing facilities around the country, almost 15 since we took office in 2020. And we have a number of agro-processors now coming on stream. We have our produce being more value added, and our produce are being processed now. A number of new products have come out in the market, in the agro-producing market. And there we will continue to work. $800 million have been allocated to that. We have $1.7 billion allocated to the fishing industry, the aquaculture and fishing industry. And you know what we have been doing? Only just now we commissioned a new wharf at the Edwards, near to the Borbis River Bridge. Fisher folks there are very happy. We built a tarmac, we built a shed, we built a good wharf there for them. And over 100 landing sites and fishing wharves around the country, we have started developmental work going across. If you go at the main fishing site in Georgetown now, the Meadowbank Wharf, we have transformed that place. We built a new wharf there. We build new sheds at the Meadowbank Wharf. We built a tarmac. We put in lights, washroom facility. We enhancing the aesthetic there. We put in security. So people are plying their trade in a more comfortable environment. The same thing we are doing in Mondripo and those other major fishing sites. Rosignol. We built a new building for the fisher folks on the quarantine, number 79. So $1.3 billion will be expended into that program to continue the development in the fishing sector. You know for a fact also, we have been purchasing these tracking devices that we give to the vessel when they go out in the Atlantic. We can track them if they are in distress. We can know where they are and find their location. So we have the main center in Georgetown that we look at it and can monitor those vessels. And then in the DNI sector, we have $73.2 billion allocated, giving us a total of $104.6 billion allocated to the agriculture sector. We have seen a 6% increase from last year to this year. And that augurs well for us because the agriculture sector is poised once again to move the country's food production in a different sphere, at a different level. This year, I am hoping that the food safety lab will we already build a food safety lab. We'll commission in very shortly. We build a brand new abattoir in Region 5 that will be commissioned shortly. The food hub is in the process of being built. So all these facilities are going up. And also, as I mentioned, we have 15 agro-processing facilities across the country, different parts of the country, not only in urban areas or the coastal area, but places like Deep South in Rupununi, places like St. Ignatius in Rupununi, places like Whitewater in Region 1, Charity in Region 2, Oriala in Region 6. These are the areas so that we can give the same kind of facilities that our farmers are getting on the coast, give the people in the indigenous community. So we have seen tremendous improvement there. Then we brought in new techniques. We have introduced the cage culture. Now, the cage culture, when the president spoke about introducing marine cages in Guyana, many persons were laughing at him, saying that they didn't know what the president talking about, that those things can work in Guyana. It can work in places like Vietnam, Asia, Vietnam, Thailand, those countries. But we proved them wrong. We proved them that we know what we are doing. We proved them that we have a vision. This PBP civil government, we have a vision. We have a plan. And what we have done, we did the pilot project in 3 areas on the Essequibo. We did it at Mainstay, Kapoi, and Mashabo. And it was very, very successful. Now, we are in the process of installing another 50 cages. And we targeted the indigenous hinterland communities. So this will supplement their income. 1 cage is capable of earning $8 million annually. So if we put 2 cages in a community, in a village, that will give them $16 million, leaving out the LCDS funds that we're giving them, leaving out the presidential grant that we're giving them, and leaving out the earnings that they get from royalties and other things. So you can see not only on the coastal area there are opportunities, but in all the areas in our country. You could name it. So the agriculture sector is moving and moving rapidly, like other sectors in the country.
All right, as we wrap up, describing the social interventions in the budget this year, what are some of the highlights you'd want to share with us in terms of what it does for the people?
Well, we have seen the other sectors and sectors that are important, like what people depend on everyday services, like the health sector. We have seen massive increases in allocation. You know, we are building a number of new hospitals across this country. They will complete this year, right here in New Amsterdam, right next door to this station. A new hospital is being built, a state-of-the-art hospital. The same facilities that people are going to Georgetown for, the same facilities we'll have here. So that hospital will be complete. Another one is being built at number 75 on the quarantine. Another one is being built at Bot in Region 5 and different parts of the country. So we have seen massive improvement in the health sector. We have seen an allocation of $10,000 being allocated to people to have medical treatment. We have seen the continuation of the spectacle program for the vulnerable group, the pensioners, the school children. We have seen the screening for the women for cervical cancer continue. All those are benefit coming out. We said when we took government in 2020, we said before this first term end, we'll double old age pension. This year, old age pension will double to $41,000. We increased public assistance to $22,000. We are increased, we said when we were in opposition, because you know that the former government would have discontinued the school cash grant. We said we'll reintroduce it, but we have only reintroduced it. We extend it to the private school, and we increase it over time. So much so that this year, every single child that attends private or public school will receive $55,000 from the government of Guyana, $50,000 school uniform, $50,000 cash grant, and a $5,000 uniform voucher. Every child. Now the government, we introduce a new thing that the firstborn, for your child, who any Guyanese mother who have a child this year will have a first tranche one-off cash grant of $100,000. Those are direct benefit to the people of this country. Leaving out, we have seen thousands of workers now coming off the tax net because we have increased the tax threshold from $100,000 to $130,000. Bear in mind, when we took over government in 2020, it was $65,000. So we have doubled, 100%. We have increased the tax threshold. Thousands of workers now will come off the tax net, and they will get tax relief. The $50,000 if you're doing a second job, or if you have overtime and you work $50,000, that will be tax free. Now tax will not be charged here. If you're doing a second job, and the first $50,000 will be non-taxable. So these are direct benefit coming out from the budget. As I said, that the universal health voucher of $10,000 will be made available to every person to allow for basic health tests. We talk about the support for the new babies. You know, the national the NIS. Those persons who did not make $750 contribution, they are not entitled for a pension. But now we have injected a one-off injection in the NIS so that people with up to 749 contribution can have a cash grant coming out of the budget. When the gas to shore energy project is completed this year, we'll see the reduction of 50% of electricity costs. Our electricity costs will be going down by 50% when that project is completed. And the completion of the Demerara Harbor Bridge toll will be abolished across the country. And I know for a fact right here in Berbice that the bridge toll to cross the Berbice River Bridge now for a hire car is about, I think, about $1,800 or $1,900. Now, if a hire car go to Georgetown 6 days per week, the hire car owner will see almost close to $12,000. That will go directly into the pockets. So all these are the benefits that we're talking about coming out of this year's budget. So I think it's tremendous. We have the removal of VAT on agriculture machinery and what you call it, the generator. All these taxes have been removed, VAT and these things. I talk about the free. And let me be very frank, this here is tremendous. We said in 2020, when we went to the election in our manifesto campaign, we said that we would bring back free university education to Guyana. And this year, every student that attend the University of Guyana, or past students who would have owed the University of Guyana, all those persons will be going to the university free of cost once again, thanks to the PPP civic government. So these are direct benefits. Some, there are more, a lot more we can go and you can sit and talk for hours. But this year's budget is a complete package to enhance the lives of Guyanese, to continue the improvement that we started in 2020, to continue the modernization and the reconstruction of our country. Our country now is taking its rightful place, and with the prudent management that we have, with what we are doing, Guyana have place to go.
I want to take this opportunity to thank you for coming to share with us the focus of government, the provisions provided for that vision to be realized in the 2025 budget. Remember, $1.382 trillion budget for the year for Guyana. Over the coming weeks, we'll hear the budget debated in Parliament. And of course, Minister, you'll come back. We'll spread out across the region and explain all the transformative things that are going to be happening in agriculture for the people.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Janelle, for sitting in with us.
Great. We know this is indeed a transformational budget. It is 20.6% larger than 2024, and it's financed with no new taxes.
Right.
So that's amazing. So, Minister, once again, thank you for joining us. This was Budget in Focus.